Hello Reborners, my name is Karen and this is Making Reborn Dolls with Karen. I turned something that looked like this, blank and plain, into something that looked like this, all painted and looks like a baby. Of course he doesn't have his hair, but you can do it too. I'm here to show you how you can make a doll of your own. And it's not that hard. So come and make Reborn Dolls with me. The first thing we're going to do is talk about all the things that you need to make a reborn doll. And while we're doing that, I'm also going to be cleaning two little preemie kits, Aspen and Leaf. They're twins. Oh, that's not Aspen. Yes, it is. That's Aspen. Aspen and Leaf. They're two little twin, boy and girl. They make a awake version of this one and a sleeping version of this one. But they also make a sleeping version of this one. Anyway, while we're cleaning our baby, we are going to talk about all the things that we need to make a reborn doll. That way we don't waste the whole video on just talking. The first thing you're going to do when you get your little kit is take it out of the bag, and you want to look it over and make sure there's nothing wrong with it. Sometimes they have factory dirt on them, which you're going to clean off. The best way to do that is to go to your sink and use some water from your sink and some mild dishwashing liquid. It doesn't have to be super soapy. In fact, it's better if it's not, because remember, all the soap you put on your doll, you have to rinse it off. And then you have to dry your doll. Aspen has already been cleaned, but I'm going to clean her again. But Leaf I just took out of the bag. He has not been cleaned. Anyway, I think I just took Aspen out too. As a matter of fact, I don't think I cleaned her. But anyway, for a long time I lived in my son's attic. And while it was a nice room, it didn't have a bathroom. So I had to go downstairs. The bathroom was downstairs in his workshop. So I didn't have any running water upstairs. So I couldn't wash my dolls without going up and down the stairs over and over again. So I decided that I would try to find an alternate way to do it. It's hard to get polyfill in these tiny little necks of these little preemie sized dolls. But I've been wanting to make Leaf for such a long time. But I was waiting on trying to get Aspen asleep. I dislike Aspen awake, so I got her asleep instead. And I wanted to make them together so they'd look alike. If you make them together, you're surely going to use the same exact paints, the same exact quantities of paint. You're just going to do it the same. And there's no guarantee you're going to do that if you don't make them together. It is really hard to get this in here. I'm going to try a stick. The paintbrush wants to push right through the polyfill. The hole in the neck is very, very small. Anyway, I always stuff the head a little bit because in the baking process, oh yeah, I do I don't do air dry, I do heat set. This is a video instructions for heat set paint. Anyway, during the heating process you have to bake them to cure the paint. Sometimes the head can collapse. So by stuffing it, oh, there we go. I just had too much polyfill. I guess it's going in real easy now. Keeping some polyfill in the head will keep it nice and round. We want to keep our shape to our baby's head. We don't want it collapsing in or one side going down, the other side going up. It's correctable, but who wants to have to correct it? I don't. This helps you prevent from having to correct it. Now, one thing you have to remember about polyfill is when it heats, it expands. So you don't want to fill the head too much, because then you'll have a super stretched out head. I can't find the hole I made in this bag. Oh, there it is. I'll put some on the table so I can get at it easier. I got to do Aspen too. But anyway, I probably won't use that much, but I just wanted to not have to reach down there and get more. But anyway, the polyfill's going to expand a bit. So you want to leave a little bit of head space in there so that when it expands, it won't stretch the vinyl. When the vinyl is hot, it is very soft. And so it's very hard right now. But whenever it heats, it gets very soft. And then it could stretch. So we just want enough that if his head starts to collapse, there's something pushing back in there. So that should be enough. Now we're going to put some in Aspen. and get her stuffed. And okay, anyway, the first thing you're going to want to have when you make a doll is a place to do it. If you can get a dedicated space, and by that I mean you don't have to take all your stuff, box it up or something because it's in the way, and move it. I mean, some people do it on their kitchen counter and then they just move all their stuff. But I just don't know how much I'd sit down and work on my dolls if I had to get it all out, unpack it from a crate or something, and put it back on the counter every day when I wanted to work on my dolls, or twice a week, or whatever amount of time you want to work on your dolls. It's just not good. And so I just try to keep this one space in my house where I'm going to work on my dolls. And I can leave my doll just sitting right on the table if I want to. I don't have any children. Well, I did have children. They're grown. And my grandkids are mostly grown too. And besides, they don't live here. So, well, I can't find the opening. Let me just do that. But a nice dedicated space is very, very valuable. You want enough room to put all your stuff in some sort of a neat order. Anyway, that's important to have that. And I have to get a drink. My mouth is super dry. And then I cover my table because you're going to make little incidental paint marks on your table and you want something to catch it. You don't want to stain up the table. So that also is very, very useful. What I'm going to do now when we're talking is I'm going to clean them. I'm going to use this towel, this little wash rag. I just went to Walmart. If you get you a pencil and paper, you can write down all the places that I'm telling you to get the stuff, because I'm going to tell you the cheapest place to get it. You can get a lot of things from those doll manufacturers, but their prices are a lot higher. But they're not going to have wash rags anyway. And yes, you can use a paper towel, but I'm just too frugal to do that. I use these and I wash them and I use them over again. I throw them in with my cleaning towels or something and, clean them. Anyway, I just put alcohol on the rag, a lot of it, because I'm going to clean 2 kits. The best way to do this, I'm going to tell you, is go to the sink, make you up some lightly soapy water, and wash your kit. Rinse it thoroughly, put it in the dish drainer, let it drain. Now you're going to be using something similar to Dawn dishwashing liquid. And any cheap kind will do, though. I just use Dawn for my dishes, so Dawn works great. And I'm trying to keep it from dripping all over the table. And so, yeah, that works just fine. And then after the doll is completely dry, and yes, you can dry it with a towel, but you're going to want to try to not get anything inside the head or the limbs, because it's murder to get that dry. You'd have to just let it sit up and dry. And you're going to need to do the washing before you stuff it and the drying. Now we're just alcoholing him. And you're going to need to do this step too, even if you wash them at the sink, because this will remove even the little bits of soap residue you may not have washed off your doll. You're going to get a much better finish on your doll if you clean them first. So that is the first step we always do, is we clean our kit. And it's a good idea soon after you get it to take it out of its bag and examine it, because sometimes there is something wrong with the kit. And you'll want to tell Bountiful Baby so they can send you a replacement. That's where I get my kits, is Bountiful Baby. And here's the reason why. There are a lot of artists who don't like Bountiful Babies. They just think they're mundane or something. I don't know. And I've heard a couple of people say they're hard to paint, but I've never had that problem. But they make extremely, I don't want to call them cheap. I'm trying to think, user-friendly prices is what they have. And when you're a beginner, you're going to need to make a lot of kits that you may not be real happy with. So you're going to want to have a kit that doesn't cost a lot of money. And Bountiful Baby has 2 kinds of kits. One is just a little artist kit. It's just somebody sat down and just molded out a kit and started making dolls out of it from their imagination. And the other kind is like these 2 little babies were real babies. And I don't know if their names were really Aspen and Leaf or not, but that's what they named them for the dolls. But they scanned them with a 3D scanner, and 3D printed a copy of them and then started molding kits. So they look just like the real baby. And if you look on their site, they actually have a lot of pictures of the doll made by several different artists. Most of the time they have that. And they'll also have the picture of the real baby. And sometimes they put the real baby right side by side the kit, and you can see it really does look like the real baby. And of course, it's a still. The real baby's going to have expression, more expression on their face. And except sometimes they make the kits crying and stuff like that. I don't like those kits. But anyway, you're going to need some kits. And if you watch Bountiful Baby, I mean, I check it every day because I'm not paying regular price for a kit unless I have a special order. Now, if somebody wants a special order, yes, I will, because I'm going to pass that price on to them. But when I'm making kits randomly just to post and sell, well, then I don't want to pay regular price for them. I'm going to pay a greatly reduced price, or I'm not going to get them unless they've been out of stock forever and a day. I know that recently Michael has been out of stock for just ever. You couldn't get a Michael anywhere. And then all of a sudden he came back into stock, and what do you know? He sold out in the first day. So he's back out of stock again. So I was able to grab 2 of them. So I grabbed them because I knew he was going to sell out. Okay, I have wiped every piece, and now they feel very clean. When you first get them out of the bag, they're going to actually feel dirty to you. And this, I've never had any problem with this way. I do not wash them in the sink. But that is the way you're supposed to do it, is wash it in the sink. So I'm going to tell you, go to the sink and wash your doll. Dry your doll. Try not to get anything inside, because if it's wet inside, you're going to have to dry that too. And then just dry it off with, you can dry it with a paper towel or a dish rag or whatever. Get it as dry as you can, and then just put it on your table and let it get a little more dry. And when it's completely dry, it won't feel cold at all. This one still feels cold from the alcohol, but it won't feel cold at all. And you'll be able to then wipe them down with the alcohol, because you still have to do that. It is the most important step to me. But anyway, Aspen and Leaf, even though they're twins, have their own separate limbs. They're not identical. Usually, if they're real twins, they don't have identical limbs. But if they're artist kits or something, or the Awaken Asleep version of the same doll, they will have the same limbs. Artist kits, the Awaken Asleep, or the twins, or whatever you want to call it, will have the same limbs. But not Reborn kits. They will have their own limbs. Even though Aspen has a finger that's pointing and Leaf has a finger that's pointing, you can see they're opposite hands. You could actually put these two together. I think Leaf is a little bit smaller than Aspen. I'm not really sure. But they're just little babies. They make 16 or 17-inch babies. I'm not sure which one. And I have put them on the little small body, and I have put them on a body that was a little bit bigger. And they look a little different, whichever body you put them on, but it doesn't make any difference. It's a preference. But anyway, besides having a nice table to put to do your doll work on, you're going to want to put a puppy pad on it. I have one underneath here. I have a puppy pad underneath here so you can see it. And the purpose of the puppy pad is for spills. It's not for little incidental marks you might make with your brush or something. It's for an actual spill, because the paper towels will not soak that up. But the puppy pad, they're made for a puppy to pee on, so they're going to soak up a lot. So anyway, so yeah, I put a puppy pad. I get the jumbo one, the largest one. I think it's extra large, and it covers almost the entire table. And then I put a couple of layers of paper towels on top, and those are for the incidental marks. It's much easier to take off a layer of paper towels than it is to change the whole table. So the puppy pad lasts a lot longer that way. We don't need this on the table, and you don't have to keep changing that expensive puppy pad. I just buy that little pack that's got like 14 in it or something, and I save them just for my table. I do have a dog, but she uses a different kind of puppy pad. But anyway, once you have your table with your puppy pad and your paper towels on it, you can actually start laying dolls on it. But I mean, I have my drying rack. You probably can't see the whole thing, but you can see that it has, I'm going to turn the camera just a little. I'm not sure you can see that. See that drying rack right there? It's just a piece of wood at the bottom. Well, I'm not holding this quite right. I can't see it. It's just a piece of wood at the bottom that I just found in my son's workshop. That's my finger on the camera y'all are seeing. And then I found some dowels, and I had him drill some holes in it the size of the dowels, and I just glued them in with some glue. And it makes a wonderful drying rack. I have the arms and legs down lower, and up here on these taller ones I have the heads go there. And once you put like sealer on your doll and you want to put them on there to dry, you just put them on there. But I don't usually put my heads on there because they're stuffed. I just set them on the table just like that, because the rim is all that's going to touch the table anyway, and it won't hurt it a bit. But anyway, Aspen and Leaf are going to get some sealer while we're talking. I'm going to explain about all the sealers and stuff. You're going to see me using the sealer right now. And besides a drying rack, you're going to also need paint brushes. And you're going to need plenty of paper towels too. I like to keep baby wipes on my table because you can just wipe your hands with something wet and get the paint and stuff off your fingers. Anyway, you're going to need paint brushes. I get this kind right here. They're called Royal and Langnickel Crafter's Choice Simulated Camel Hair. And they come in a 15 brush set. If you Google that, you're going to get a bunch of companies that have them. And you can pick the one that you want to get your, don't tell me I don't have a sponge. Excuse me, I have to get out a sponge. I don't know where I've put my sponges, but I don't have a sponge out. Isn't that just the way to be prepared? Here they are. If you Google that, you're going to get a bunch of companies that are going to come up, and you're going to see a lot of places to get them. Don't be fooled by any other colored handles. Get the ones with the gold handle. They're the only ones that are any good. You're also going to need cosmetic wedges. I like these. They're Swisspers Jumbo Cosmetic Wedges. A lot of you might remember that you used to could get these at Walmart. Walmart does not carry them anymore. They only carry those real dense, hard ones, which I have some of those too. That's what's up here. I get these because they're cheaper, and I get these from Amazon because that's the only place I can find them for sure every time, and I don't want to just search and search and search. And these are real soft and airy and spongy, and they just are the right thing. And then you just rip off the top until they're raggy, like, let me see if I can find one that's not too dirty to show you, like that. And then you use them to paint your dolls with. But these, once you put the paint on the doll, there's going to be an excess on there. And you have to dab them with another sponge to get some of it off. So that's what I use these for, because they are harder and denser, but they're a lot cheaper. And they won't work to put the paint on because they won't let go of the paint good enough. But these will. You can see the difference in them. These are the jumbos. You don't want those little tiny ones. They're just too little. I tried to use them one time and it's just blicky. But anyway, put it on with one, sponge it around with the other one to smooth it out, and you save a lot on your expensive sponges by using some like this. You'll see me doing it when I'm painting. But we're getting out one of these softer ones to put the sealer on our doll with. You're also going to need a bunch of other little things. One of them's paint thinner. We thin our paint because it's way too thick. The paint comes in a jar like this, or a little smaller jar like this. They even have bigger ones that are about this size, and they have some that are, there's another size here somewhere if I can find it. It's the red one. Oh, it's here. Tucked away back here in this little corner. This size. And they're all different prices. This would be the cheapest one. It's about, I don't know, between $3 and $4 probably. I don't know. It's just a little bit of paint in there. And it's, if you wanted to try a new color or something and you didn't want to buy a whole big one, you could buy that one. But then this one is like around $11. It's more than double this one. And I don't ever buy my paints when they're that price. I wait till they're on sale. Every once in a while, Bountiful Baby will have a site-wide 40% off sale. That everything on their site is 40% off. And that's when you're going to buy your paints and your sealers and stuff. This is the thinning medium. It's very, very important to use. And also the sealer comes in one like that too. This is sealer. I took out of one of them jars. I just use it out of here because I can get to it a lot easier. We just put it on our sponge like this, and then we pounce it around on our doll. We want to make sure our doll is clean, so we want to sort of feel of it. Yes, she's clean. So we're going to remove that speck by her eye, and then we're just going to start pouncing it on her. We want to put it on in a, see, that's way too thick what's on her right now, if you can even see it. I'm just going to be pouncing it all over her. We want to make sure we get every little spot covered very, very well, because it's very important to seal your dolls first. Now, this is my opinion. It's not absolutely necessary, and a lot of people don't do it. But I do it because I found out from experience, and most of the things I know from experience. I only really got a few little tips from other artists, because back in the day when I first started, and I've been making dolls for years and years, I've literally made hundreds and hundreds of dolls. Back when I first started making dolls, people weren't so free with their information. And oh, you need some pointy swabs. Now, if you've got the round kind in your bathroom already and you want to use those, you can do that. But the pointy ones are just a little better. They get down in those little cracks and crevices a lot better. And you can get them from Walmart, Equate brand. They're really cheap. Anyway, so I discovered it all on my own, that if a doll is sealed, the paint just looks better, sticks better, all that. And but it's certainly not a necessary step. You do not have to do it. In fact, a lot of the things that you do on dolls are not considered necessary. They're just something you can do. You don't have to. But I just know the difference when I make a doll that's sealed. In fact, I had made a video a long time ago. It's not still up because I delete the old videos because nobody watches them anymore. But I had made a video a long time ago where I made dolls side by side. One time I made a doll unsealed and a doll sealed so people could see the difference, and it was the same doll kit and everything. It was I don't remember the doll it was, but so that people couldn't say, oh, well, that's a different kit, so maybe the vinyl's different, you know. I bought two kits at the same time. I made them side by side. And another time, I did it with the thinning medium, because Bountiful Baby claims you can use thinning medium as sealer. But, no, I don't like it. And anyway, we put a nice little coat on our doll, and you see I'm pouncing it a whole lot to make sure it's very, very smooth. And you can actually look at your doll and see if you missed a spot. If you got good lighting, you can see it looks a little bit shiny. So I'm just checking her over to make sure. And she looks good, so I'm going to put her down on the table. And what we want to do is let them sit for a little while and get a little bit dry, because they are gooey. Gooey. Anyway, let's get back to what we need. We're going to move on and do Leaf's head next. We covered paint. Oh, we have to cover the colors of the paint. We covered brushes. We covered, well, not much. We haven't covered much. In your paints, I use the easy method. They have several different methods. Different artists have developed their own methods, and some of them publicize that they have a method. And there's one called the primary method. And in that method, I think there's two different ways to do it. One way is you only use primary colors. That would be red, yellow, and blue. And you make a whole doll just using red, yellow, and blue. Now, I did try this method, and according to the artist that I was watching do it, if you continue to use red, yellow, and blue in just sequence, you just continue to pile on those layers, and we're talking many, 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 many layers, you will finally get a doll with a skin tone color. which I never did. And I had put quite a number of layers on that doll. And it just, I finally switched to a skin tone, and he was so funny looking. I just, I don't know. I had to sell him for a bargain doll. That was my experience. Now, I'm not saying it can't work. I'm saying I couldn't make it work. It just took too long. I'm 68 years old. I'd like to make dolls before I die. I don't want to sit there working on 40 layers on one doll. That's ridiculous. Anyway, to me, it's ridiculous. That doesn't mean it's ridiculous to you. If that's the method you want to use, then I say good luck. That's all I say. But the other method of primary method, I think is, I don't really know, is you take the primary colors, and everybody knows all colors come from the primary colors, red, yellow, and blue, in different combinations. And you mix your colors that you want to use. And I'm going, why would you do that when they make them pre-mixed for you? Unless there's something wrong with the color in your opinion, I don't see why anybody would ever do that. I watched an artist doing that too. She needed some black. Instead of just getting a little jar of black paint and taking some out, she proceeded to mix a black paint. And she couldn't get it right. She just kept adding more and more and more and more and more paint to it, and until she had this huge amount mixed up. And she just needed a little dab, and after she used it, she threw the rest of what she mixed away, which to me is a waste. A lot of people use those little round paint palettes. They just look like a dish, almost look like a deviled egg tray, except the little holes that you put the paint in are smaller than the ones for deviled eggs. And now when you're doing the hands and the feet on this, you have to make sure you're getting it down in these little crevices too, because he's got little crevices here that might be a little hard to get. And if you can't get them any other way, you can usually get them. But if you can't, you can use a paintbrush. I use a throwaway paintbrush for that, because I'm not cleaning that out of the paintbrush. It's too hard. Anyway, back to paints. So they mix in that little paint palette all the colors they're going to use, and then they just throw it away when they're finished. Not the paint palette, but the paint. I mix in jars like these, and I keep it because it doesn't go bad, and you can use it over and over and over and over again, and you can not have to waste your paint. Paint is expensive, even when you're paying half price for it. But I certainly do not want to spend more money than I have to, because this is an extremely fun hobby, but it's also expensive. So we need to cut corners everywhere we can if it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter what you paid for your paint as long as you get the paint. So the paint can be cheap or it can be expensive. I choose to get it when it's cheap. And a lot of people just go on there and buy what they need. I'm in several doll groups, and they'll go, okay, now I'm going to get his hair. I buy hair when it's on sale. Or now I need to order the sealer. I order the sealer when it's on sale. I don't just order it when I need it. I order it when it's on sale, and then I have it when I need it. It's, to me, a better way. But to each his own is all I can say. But I get the pre-mixed colors because most of them are just perfect to me. They're the right color that I want to use, and me trying to mix that, I would go nuts. I want to enjoy my craft, and I don't feel that I can enjoy it when I'm having to worry over the paint. Is that right? I can't tell, you know. And then you go, no, it's not right. I got to do something else to it. It's just nerve-wracking to me. So by using pre-mixed colors, I save my sanity, and I save myself a lot of time of worrying over the paint. So learn to hold your baby parts by the rim, because that's what you're going to have to do most of the time. You can also stick a finger in there to help you balance it a little and not drop it. Because when I first started having to hold it by the rim, it was very, very awkward. But it's necessary because you want to get that paint and the sealer all the way up. You don't want to leave any part of this little top part undone. It's going to look weird when you get finished if you do. Anyway, let's get back to our things we need. In my paints, I get certain premixed colors. I do not recommend getting those starter packs because they're going to pack it full of just a few little things. Like they're going to give you some pointy swaps, like maybe 10 of them. And they're probably going to charge you more than it'd take to buy the whole pack of, like, I think there's 150 in the pack I buy. They're going to charge you more than that for that, those 10. I guarantee you. They don't have an individual price down for everything, but if you was to look everything up separately on their website, you'd see that it's much more expensive than it would be to get only the things you have to get from them and everything else from Walmart or wherever I tell you. The starter packs, they just put too much stuff in there that you can buy cheaper somewhere else. So I get everything at the cheapest place I can get it. But in the paints, you're going to need a flesh color if you're going to do it my way. And my way, I love my way. I think you'll like it too when you see me doing it and you see how easy it is and you see that the doll can be pretty at the end, and you'll like it too, I think. But if you don't, you're free to do any sort of method you want. I'm just here to show you a method and that you don't have to do something difficult if you don't want to. And I don't want to. So I get a flesh color. Now the flesh colors come in color numbers. I don't have a bottle of every flesh color to show you because I just don't get those super light colors. They're just too light. They make too pale of a doll. And I just showed you Michael at the beginning of this video. He was finished and he didn't look too dark to me. And if you think he's too dark, it's probably the blush that's making him dark, not the flesh color. Because literally you can barely tell any flesh colors on the doll. I'm going to have to put some on this drying rack now. But anyway, you're going to need a flesh color, and they start like this. The very, very lightest color is 08. I've never seen an 09 or a 10 or anything like that. 08. And Bountiful Baby has taken the 08, and I got to turn my chair a little bit. Bountiful Baby has taken the 08 and pinked it up a little with some pinkish color, and they call it baby skin. That's their pre-mixed color of their specialized color. They're all pre-mixed. All the flesh colors are pre-mixed. You don't have to take any colors of paint and try to create this color. It's already that color. But 08 would be your lightest plain color. And then you could actually get the baby skin. It is super, super pink and weird looking to me. But people do use it, so it is an option. If you want very, very pale, fair-skinned babies, that might be your color to go with. And I started out with that color as well. But I found that it was just too light. I was not happy with the way the dolls looked. They barely look like they have any paint on them. And I like them a little bit darker than that. So I said, all right, I'm going to try another color. So I went to 07. And 07 was a little better, but it was still too light. And I went to 06, same thing. And when I got to 05, I tried it, and I thought, okay, maybe I'm going to try the 04. The 04 was too dark, so I went back to 05. So 05 is about in the middle, so that's the color I use. And it's a pretty good color. And it doesn't make your baby too dark, but it also doesn't make them too light. So it's a workable color. So I get that color. And then there's the next color that you have to have is a color called Warm Blush. I use two blushes. One is Warm Blush, and the other one is a cooler color. It's just called Blush. It's just lip nail blush is what it's called. But I don't use that one anymore. That is the one color that I mix. And I'll tell you why. When I was using Genesis, which was the I guess, the gold standard in paint. And everybody was using Genesis, just everybody. And then they went out of business during COVID. And so everybody's scrambling to find a new paint. And Bountiful Baby carries Gemini. And so I said, all right, I'll just use Gemini. And so I bought me some. And I just thought the blush was too pink. It's just pink. It's too light. And I tried to doctor it up and I just couldn't get it right. So I changed to another color that I could doctor up a little and get it right. And sorry for all the noise. My sister's slamming doors.
Sorry.
Anyway, the color that I use now is called, it's a very hard to pronounce color, quinacridone, I think, Crimson #1. And I get it from Bountiful Baby in the Gemini series. Now, there's a lot of other series. Beatrice Clementi has one, Irresistibles, and I don't know, there's a lot of them. But I've tried a lot of those. And while they are nice paints, their paints aren't any better. And I found that a lot of them don't carry all the flesh colors that you might want. And so I didn't want to have to try to go with, okay, I'll take these things from this company and these things from this company. I wanted to stay with a company that I could get all my colors from, because I don't like changing paints on my doll, changing brands. And so I was using Beatrice Clementi for a while. She doesn't make an 05, and neither does Irresistibles, I don't think. There might have been a different reason I didn't use Irresistibles. I can't remember. But I've tried those paints. They're not any better. They're about the same. And I don't ever see them go on sale. But when Bountiful Baby has their sale, I buy paint. That's when I buy it. And so I just wait. I just wait for it to go on sale, and then I buy it. Anyway, we're just about to get our two babies sealed. We're not going to paint two babies at one time. But when I get out the sealer, I like to seal more than one doll. It's just, I hate sealing dolls. And so I'll seal 2 or 3 at one time. And that way, when I'm ready to do the next baby, I'll already have the paint. The sealer, I mean, on the doll. As a matter of fact, we may not do aspen or leaf at all. I'm just showing you how to seal a doll with them. We may do another doll, because I would like to paint aspen and leaf at the same time, but I just can't handle making a video of 2 dolls at one time. It's too time consuming and hard. But sometimes I do dolls offline, so I can do them later. I'm just using them to show you how to seal a doll. This is very easy. You just pounce it all over the doll, making sure you get every part of the doll and that it's smooth and even all over the doll. You don't want it thick and heavy on the foot and then the leg to have it real thin. You want it about even. So that's why I pounce a lot on the doll, to make sure every spot's covered and to make sure it's even. So that way we get a good coverage on our doll. Anyway, then I get a few other colors. I have a yellow, but I don't use primary yellow. I use raw sienna. It's a much prettier yellow to me. Yellow I don't use hardly at all. In fact, I may not even use it in any of our instructional videos. But I can tell you what it's used for. It's used for little areas on the doll that are fatter, where you want to accentuate their fat. When you're making a skinny doll like this, they don't even have any fat. And anyway, some people put it all over the face of their doll, and then they end up with a yellowish looking doll, and they don't know how to take care of that. I hate fixing mistakes like that. So a lot of times I just don't use it. And anyway, it's a choice if you want to use it. I can't appreciate any difference in my doll. I'm not putting it on that dark where it makes a yellow face on my doll. It looks funky. I want to make pretty dolls. Yes, I want them to look like babies, but I'm not into super hyper realism. Because trying to do all those things to your dolls, frankly, in my opinion, sometimes makes them just look weird. I've seen even some master artist dolls posted online, and sometimes they just make a video and just post their video on like Facebook or YouTube or something, and you'll say, "Well, okay, but the doll looks a little funny to me," you know. But that's just my opinion. Everybody has different opinions about dolls and how they look. Now that we're finished, we can just talk. But I don't do a lot of those things, so I don't use a lot of those weird colors they use. I don't get mint green or lavender or any of those colors because I'm not going to use them. I besides the colors I already mentioned, I only get the yellow, and then I get the blue. I use vein blue, and then I use a purple, which is eyelid purple, and oh yeah, the nail tip. I do get nail tip. Because sometimes I tip their nails. I don't always tip their nails. I've only recently started tipping nails, but it's a choice. You can tip or not tip, it doesn't matter. Then I get some mediums, and one of them I get is this is thick medium. And thick medium is used to make things like baby scratches and stuff like that. It's if you want something a little raised from the skin, like a scratch, you'd be able to actually touch the scratch and feel that it's a scratch just like you can on your skin. And so this will do that. And I get thinning medium as well. This is the thinning medium, and I use it to thin the paint a little bit and help liquefy it down because it's globby and thick. I'll show you what it looks like in this jar right here. This paint will not pour out of this jar. See, it's just in there. See, it's big, it's thick, and you can't use it like that. And while you can cut it with just plain paint thinner, it's a little bit better if you cut it with some thinning medium first. And I also use something else called Exodus oil, which is very, very, very wonderful. It does about the same thing. I put a little bit of this and a little bit of the thinning medium, and then I put my paint in there, and it just liquefies the paint into just a liquid almost. And I'll just mix it up with one of these throwaway paint brushes that I buy from Walmart, super, super cheap. And then I throw the paintbrush away. Because if you use your good paint brushes to mix your paint, you're going to have to clean that thick paint out of that paintbrush. And it's murder to do that. Sometimes you can't get it all out. And so I just use these. It's worth it to me. Like I said, I use pointy swabs. And I use toothpicks. All of these things you can get from Walmart. Very, very cheap. I buy my jars from Walmart. I buy them in this little small size. These are cannon jars that people make for jelly and stuff. And this is the 4-ounce one. You get about 12 of you get 12 of them for about $8. You can't beat that with a stick. And these bigger ones, I think they're about $13 for 12 of them. You'll need a pencil sharpener if you use pencils. I use a lot of pencils. Don't be fooled by those companies telling you need a special pencil sharpener that costs $4 or $5 or more, maybe $7. And it's crap. I bought one. It's crap. This one works super good, and it was 69 cents at Walmart. Pen and Gear. It's in the school supplies. Anyway, pencils. I use a variety of pencils making my doll. And you can get pencils from Bountiful Baby, but they only have hair colors. If you want any other color pencil, they're not going to have it. But I use pencils for several different reasons. One of them is veining. I do not vein with paint. I do use blue on my doll, but I don't use it for veins. I use a pencil because it makes a super good vein. And I use this pencil. I only use Prismacolor pencils. And this one is aquamarine. And this is what I use for the veins. And then I use a pencil to crease with as well. And I use this sort of fleshy reddish color, reddish brown color. It's called henna. And then there's a pencil if you want to do capillaries. The one I use, I believe, is Crimson Lake. That's terracotta. That's not it. I bought a bunch of pencils to zero in on the color that I liked because they were so cheap where I buy them. That's Tuscan Red. This will be it. Crimson Lake. That's the one I like for capillaries. And then if you do hair, you're going to need some color. If you want to pencil your hair, you're going to need some colors for that as well, depending on which color hair you want to get. I get about 3 colors. I use this pencil right here, which is sandbar brown, and I draw on the eyebrows. I'm not trying to root those. I root the hair, but I'm not rooting an eyebrow. I'm just not. It's just, I don't have that kind of nerves. But anyway, depending on the whether you want to pencil the hair on, paint it on, or root it, you may or may not need hair colored pencils. But if you Google Jerry's Artorama, it'll come right up, and their pencils are the cheapest I've ever seen. You get these nice Prismacolor pencils, which are very high quality pencils, for $1.39. Now on Bountiful Baby, I think they're $2.89. They might be $2.69. I don't know, but they're at least half price at Jerry's Artorama. So you can afford to go, I'm not sure what color I want. I'm going to get 3 purples. I used to crease with purple, but I've abandoned that. But I bought maybe 3 or 4 colors because, well, they're so cheap. And if you buy as many as 12, and they don't have to be the same color, you can get your pencils for $1.29 each. And so if you want 2 or 3 of the same color, well, you can get that. Or if you want 12 different colors, you can get that too. And so I just went on there and bought me a little supply of pencils. I sometimes pencil hair if I know the doll's going to a child or something, because they're just going to mat up that rooted hair so bad. It's going to be horrible. And but anyway, like I said, you're going to need paint thinner. Regular paint thinner. We're not talking about thinning medium. We're talking about that liquid stuff that you put in there to thin paint with. And I put it in this little ketchup or mustard or barbecue sauce bottle that you can get for if you grill out. And it's easy to just put it in your jar then. And there are many kinds of paint thinner you can get. You can go to a paint store or to Walmart and just get paint thinner. But don't get that one that's called green. That green kind is crap. It comes out, what they mean by green is it's good for the environment. They don't mean it's green colored, because it's not. It's going to be white and milky looking, and it's horrible. It just gums up in your brushes, and it's horrible. I don't know how anybody can use that. But you need this kind that's clear and liquidy. No, this doesn't look clear because the bottle has red all over it, and it looks kind of red inside, but it's not. You can get that Mona Lisa, which is highly expensive. You'll get maybe 14 to 16 ounces for about the same price you can get a gallon at Walmart. And yes, the one at Walmart stinks more, but I have a solution for you. You can put it in a container, a jar like these, or whatever container you want to use. Put it outside on your porch for a few hours, and a lot of that smell will evaporate. I'm not going to say it's going to smell pretty when you bring it back in, because even the Mona Lisa stinks some, even though they advertise that it's odor-free. Well, guess what? The one I buy advertises odor-free too, but it's just really not. It's not really odor-free. You can smell it still. It's just less odor than the normal stuff, I guess. But at Walmart, you can get a whole gallon over in the paint department for like $17. A whole gallon. And it lasts a long time. But anyway, you can pick the kinds you want to get. Everybody's going to do what they want anyway. But yeah, that's important to have paint thinner, because you have to thin your paint. It has to be kind of watery consistency. And let's see what else. Tools. I have a lot of tools up here in this little, I have several different kinds of scissors. Let me just see if I can get this. Can I even get it out now? I put nails up there to hold it up, and it's now attached to the walls. I have nail clippers. I have these nippers. I have needle nose pliers. Like I said, I have several kinds of scissors. I have these hemostats. I'll explain those in a minute. I have a toothbrush. Some tweezers. All kinds of things up there. And they're all used for different purposes. All my different sizes of scissors are for different things. But the nail clippers, I use those to cut the zip ties. on the bodies. You know, they're real long. And so after you pull them tight, there's a big hunk left over and you got to cut it off. If you use scissors, it's going to be jagged. These hemostats are used for things you have to reach, like, well, I can't show you on that doll. Inside the head, maybe. Does he have a pacifier magnet? Yes, he does. If you have to reach inside the doll, it's a whole lot easier to do it with this than to try to get your fingers all the way up to the top of that doll head. So that's what they're for. They had a little clippy thing on the handle that would lock them in place because they're really for doctors to use in surgery. They clip your arteries and stuff with it when they're doing surgery so you don't bleed out. But I don't need mine to lock. In fact, it was annoying. Every time you close it, it would lock. And so I had my son take his grinder and grind off that thing that makes it lock. And now it's much, much better. It's more like a pair of scissors. You just open it and close it. And now we were talking about paintbrushes earlier. I also have kabukis. Now, there was a period of time here not too long ago where everybody was kabukiing. Everybody you saw doing a video was kabukiing. They were putting it on with a paintbrush and kabukiing it. Instead of using a sponge to spread it out, they were doing it with a kabuki. Well, I tried that for a while, so I had a kabuki for each color, and I still have them. And I still use them, but I don't use them that way. It just doesn't paint well, I don't think. It doesn't give you the best finish on your doll. You want a really, really smooth finish on your doll. So sponges are going to be your best way to go. Now, I have a lot of paintbrushes because I don't wash my brushes. I keep them in these little jars. Like these are some of my red brushes for blush because I use a lot of blush. But what I do is I only use these brushes for blush, so I don't need to wash them. In fact, washing them is bad for them. Washing will make them tear up quicker. Brushes are going to tear up. What happens to the brushes usually is the paint thinner will run down through the bristles underneath this little metal thing, and down here on this little grippy part, it'll start to eat away at it. And after a while, it'll fall off. And when it does, this top will fall off. Or if it doesn't do that, it'll run even further down to this handle and somehow eat away. The handle will just break off. And then you're going to have to just either use a tiny little teeny brush like this, or you're going to have to throw it out and get another one. So the brushes, the more you wash them and stick them in paint thinner, you're going to have to stick them in there to use them for paint anyway. But you don't need to be sticking them in there to clean them when you're just going to put it right back in the same color. That's what I do. Because my brushes are much cheaper. I do have some expensive brushes, but I only have a few. This is one of them. Highly, highly expensive. And this is the other one. And I do use these two brushes quite a lot. But I actually went to the website where these brushes came from. They came in a beginner kit. This is why I'm telling you, beginner kits are not all that good. They charge you for these things, and the beginner kit is way too pricey because they put all these things in there you don't need. You don't need expensive brushes. But I have them, so I use them. I actually went back to the website to see how much it would be just to buy a brush. I can't justify that, so I didn't buy them. Anyway, I have these all kinds of little containers. This one is just a little measuring cup you can get at Walmart for $1.99 maybe. And it's glass. I like to use glass because it cleans up so well. And to hold a little bit of paint thinner to wash I do wash these little brushes because I use them for different colors. But I just swish them and wipe them. You'll see me doing it. You're also going to need several different kinds of glue. And I'll tell you what they're used for. I use hot glue to make my pacifiers. I buy pacifiers mostly that you have to cut the nipple off and make your own pacifier. But sometimes I buy these little honey bugs because the pacifier magnet can be flipped around in it. It's all a preference what you want to do. But most of the time I buy the ones you make yourself. You just cut the nipple off and you glue the magnet on where the nipple was. And then you glue a piece of cloth on top of it so that the magnet doesn't rub the baby's lips and rub off the paint. And the kind of magnets you're going to need are going to be, well, we'll cover magnets in a minute. We're trying to cover glue. I just jump around. You're going to need some super glue. I I like this kind. This is great, great glue, and I've used a lot of super glues. This one really holds together. It's super good, and it dries super, super fast. Now, I accidentally bought this one. Of course, the tops broke off of it, but I still use it. Uh, it said different packaging, same great glue. So I said, okay, they just changed the packaging. I'll buy it. So I bought this one. This is the runny kind. This is the gel kind. The gel kind's what you want. This just runs all over your doll and makes a gooey mess. So you don't want that. Anyway, I use this to put pacifiers in and to put I use the stick-on eyelashes. A lot of people root eyelashes, but I can't make them look good. So I just stick them on and I glue them on with this. It works really good. You also will need this other glue called Eileen's Paper Glaze. It comes in a thing about this size. I know it looks really small, and it costs around $7, but it lasts a super, super long time. And what I use it for is on my doll. I'll just use Gabriel as an example. I haven't done him yet, but what I do on my doll is I gloss their lips. It helps protect the lip color and everything. But I also gloss around this rim at the bottom because I don't use rings because they're a waste of money. I also do not use plugs. You can get those at Bountiful Baby, but it's going to add about $10 to your doll to use rings and plugs. But and I don't like to spend extra money you don't need. And it costs literally pennies for the entire doll to put the glue around their rims. And it makes their head turn just as easily and just as freely. But you're going to need that. And also you'll need a glue for the hair if you're going to root hair. There's different kinds. I bought this. I don't like it, but I am going to try to use it up. It's Eileen's Tacky Glue. And what I really like is Mod Podge for that because it's just easier to me. And I do sometimes still use E6000. I was using E6000 for pacifiers, setting the magnet in the doll's mouth, gluing hair, all that stuff. But I've come away from that. It just takes so much of it, and it takes it forever to dry. So I started using alternative things. But let's see what else. I'm bound to miss something. Bound to. Eyes. You can get many, many different kinds of eyes. All the way up from the cheapest, like $1.99 eyes, all the way up to like German glass eyes that are super highly expensive, like $40 or something for one pair of eyes. And it's just a preference as to which one you want to use. I get my eyes from Dolls by Sandy. She has, there used to be a company called Dolls So Real, and they had the best prices. But Dolls by Sandy now has the best prices, I think. And they have several different kinds of eyes, and you can get whatever level of quality you want there. And also eyelashes, unless you're going to root them yourself, you're going to need those. And Dolls by Sandy also has those. I buy the ones that come on a pink card, and they say Dolls by Sandy right on them. And they have, well, I think they still come on a pink card. They might have a different color card now. But anyway, they have the upper and the lower on there. 2 pairs for like, oh, they're not very expensive. $1.99 or something like that. I don't know. But the bottom ones are just perfect for the regular eyelashes. And I think the top ones are too long, so I trim them down. But I like that 2 sets come. And I don't put bottom lashes on dolls. So you can just put the top lashes on. Let's see what else. I use these little paint sticks. You saw me using one with the sealer. You can get them at Walmart. You can get them at a lot of places. But right now, Dolls by Sandy has them 50 in a pack. They look exactly like these. Excuse me. And they are 50 cents on clearance. Now, they have another pack. I'm not sure how many's in it, but it's $2. So either way, they're going to be kind of cheap. So, yeah, you need that. And let's see, hair and needles if you're going to root. I get those also from Dolls by Sandy. I've tried a lot of what we would call the medium quality hair. I don't get that super expensive kind. But they all root practically identical. So I go for the lower scale pricing on it. I wouldn't say it's any lower scale hair because I've tried. Bountiful Babies is way inflated price on that. You can get some things at Bountiful Baby for a great price. Other things are inflated. They have a different brand than what Dolls by Sandy has, but they root the same. You're not going to see any difference when you root the doll. You're not going to go, oh, this is much better quality. I'm glad I paid $30 for it instead of $15. You're not going to see that. So it's just, a preference. Where do you want to get your hair? Eyes and eyelashes are the same. You can get them from Bountiful Baby, but they want $7 or $8 for the same kind of, exactly the same looking eyes you get from Dolls by Sandy for $2.99 or something, or $3.99 or something like that. But anyway, it's just a preference. Now, one thing I do always buy at Bountiful Baby is magnets, because I have tried other people's magnets and they're just not strong enough. You need a super strong one inside the baby's head, because it has to pull through that vinyl and be able to attract that magnet that's on the pacifier. So I get these big ones from Bountiful Baby, and I only get them when they're on sale. They're like $3.49 each, regular price. But I don't buy them at, see, they're so, you can't hardly get them apart. I don't buy them at regular price. They'll show it to you up next to a penny or something on the website so that you can see how big it is. This is the big one. It's quite thick and big, and it's very strong. As a matter of fact, you can get it to suck up to this magnet. Look at it. I can move it from way up here. See, it just flies up off the table. Anyway, they sell a smaller one for the pacifiers. I don't have any of them to show you. I'm out of them. I've made up all my pacifiers, so I'll just show you the pacifier again if I can find it. Good grief. This is one that I made. I cut the nipple off and the magnet's right in the middle there, and then I covered it with this piece of flannel, I think it is. You can also use felt. Felt's a little better, but I already had this flannel, so I just used that. And you just cover it so it's soft and smooth. But it's a smaller magnet, but it will still attract through the baby's head. Let me get Michael back down again. If this is made, yeah. See, it just, and it doesn't fall off. Some of those other magnets, you just barely move the doll around, just barely move it, and they're falling off. But these are good magnets, and they work really, really well. So that I only get my magnets from Bountiful Baby. Let's see, what else? Cutters. You might need a little cutter. I think I left my cutter over there. I used a small cutter. Because, oh, here it is. Because if you use one any larger than this, you're going to cut more vinyl than you want to cut. We use these to cut the eye sockets on the inside of the head open so we can get the eyes in. They do make an X-Acto knife, and some people use that, but I just don't like that. I use this. You can open this one as much as you want or as little as you want. That X-Acto knife is just going to stick up how much it sticks up, and you can't do anything about closing it or anything. And I just like to use this. But, I mean, you're free to use whatever you want. I'm trying to think if that's everything. I've covered just about everything. Oh, polyfill and glass. You want to use something to weight your doll. Some of the newer things I've seen on the market are ground up walnut shells. Some places have those now, but they cost the same as the glass, so I don't know why anybody would. Glass is considered the industry standard. I don't know why glass, because it seems a little weird to me. But it weights your doll. You just take the doll's limb. I'm going to use Alma's limb because it's already been sealed and baked and partially painted. And you fill it up to about to the knee or a little over the knee, because one of the reasons is you want a good amount of weight in your doll. And the other reason is you can't get the polyfill to go around this bend hardly and down into the foot. And then you don't want it to be real squishy like that, And so you've got to have something in there. I tried one time to make a doll with just polyfill because I was going to give it to a little child. And I didn't want it heavy, but I just couldn't get the polyfill to go down in there. And I had to pull it out and put some glass in there anyway. But Yeah, that's the glass comes in. I don't know. There's no way I can show you what it looks like without making a mess on my table. It has the consistency of sand. Now that they do have glass that has a larger grit to it. The lower the number, the higher the bigger the glass is going to be. It's going to be kind of backwards. So the Bountiful Baby actually sells glass, and it comes in a little 1 pound bag, and you have to buy just however many pounds you want. But the bag is expensive, I think. It's about $2.99 a pound. That's too much. I buy mine from Harbor Freight. Used to be all they had was shards, but now they have the little beads like what Bountiful Baby has. You just have to make sure you're getting beads instead of crushed. And it's $69 for 50 pounds. So I'll buy one 50-pound bag, and I'll use it to make me some stockings. Now this is a double stocking. It's doubled, because these stockings are very, very, very thin, and they will let the glass come right through the stocking. So I doubled it to make it a little thicker so it wouldn't do that. But you can also get these real nice looking trouser socks from Bountiful Baby. Let me see if I can get one. And they're much, much nicer. And if you catch them on sale, you can get them for 99 cents a pair, which is about what you're going to pay for these at Walmart. Now you get about 5 or 6 pairs for $5.99 at Walmart, and these are 99 cents a pair, about the same price. And so I take one of my 50-pound. I buy two 50-pound packages at one time, and I'll take one of them and I'll make those little bags like you just saw, so they're already ready when I want to do my doll. And then the other one I keep in a bucket here to fill up the arms and the legs with. And so you're going to need that, and your polyfill. You can get that expensive Angel Soft polyfill from Bountiful Baby, but I've actually gotten dolls before. I recently got one at a bargain price from a secondhand store. And I took him apart because, well, I wanted to make sure he was clean and nothing was wrong with him. And that they had used that Angel Soft polyfill, and it was just packed into a wad inside there. But all the dolls I've ever opened up that had the polyfill I use were never like that. So I recommend this other kind, like what I get. I can't show it to you, it's too big. But I just Google it on Walmart.com. Well, I don't Google it. You just type it in Walmart.com search engine, and it comes up. And you can get 5, 10, 20, 25. I don't know. You might could even get more than that. It just says polyfill real big. The box is blue and white. And it's about $69 for 25 pounds. This huge giant box will come to your house, and it'll have 3 bags inside of it that contain together 25 pounds of polyfill. And I keep a big old box under here. I have one that a hot water heater came in. Real big, it was real tall, and I cut it down to where it fit under my table. And I put one bag in there at a time, and it holds it. And then I just use out of it till it's gone. In a closet, I have the other bags. But I mean, you're certainly free to get any kind you want. My friend just goes to Walmart and gets what she thinks for the doll she's working on. And a lot of people do that because they don't want to put out that money. But I want to save, and in bulk you save. If you look at the price of the 10-pound box and you go, okay, for 20 pounds that would be this much. But then you look at the 20-pound box and it's cheaper than 2 10s. So you're saving money. And if you get to 25, it's even cheaper. I figure it up by the pound. This is what it's going to cost by the pound, you know. And I just try to economize every way I can because, like I said, things are expensive enough. But anyway, I'm just trying. Oh, you'll need some paper towels and some rags. Like I said, I just went to Walmart and bought one of them packs. I think they're Mainstays or something like that. Cheap wash rags. I think there's like 15 in a pack or something. And I got the white ones. I don't know why. I just did. It doesn't hurt to use colored ones. As long as they're washed first, it doesn't hurt a thing because they're not going to bleed onto your doll. They're just not going to. And but I just got the white ones so I could tell them from regular wash rags I use. I don't use white wash rags mainly. Let's see. What else? Can't think of anything else. right now. There may be a few little things that I might mention as we're painting, but that's the basics right there, what I just told you. I do have this heat gun. You don't have to have one, but I saw an artist using it, and I liked the way she was using it, so I bought one, and her advice was, and I'm going to give you her advice because that's what I did, just go to eBay and buy the cheapest one you can find. It doesn't matter if it's used. This was a used one. It doesn't matter. They look, almost every single one you see is going to look like this. There are some more expensive ones that actually have a handle and stuff on them, but you don't need that. This one doesn't have any sort of a heat setting. It just gets hot. And I don't use it to cure the doll. I bake it in it. Oh yeah, you're going to need a new wave oven too. I forgot about that. I just use it to dry an area that I want to put something over the top of before I bake it, so that I know that it's completely dry. And they come in very handy. And now for your new wave oven, you can get I got a cheap used one, and you can do that too. But also, you're going to need what they call an oven thermometer, not a meat thermometer. It looks like this. This one comes from, this one was made to go with Genesis Heat Set Paint. And it has the targeted area of temperature sort of highlighted. And what you're going to need to do is, you're going to need to, Dolls by Sandy sent me this one for free. They were closing, and I was their last customer. I just got in, I almost forgot to make my order. They had put so many things on clearance, and I just wanted to take advantage of their sale. But I was waiting for my check to hit the bank so I could do it. And so I got in just under the wire, and she actually sent me a little card in my order and said, you were my last customer. So we included some free items. We hope you can use them. They sent me some hair and all kinds of things. Just, I don't know, as a thank you gift, I guess. I don't know. But this is one of the things they sent me. And it's an oven thermometer. And it's used to figure out how hot or not hot your oven's getting. And you're going to need to do a series of tests on your oven, because guess what? They don't necessarily reach the temperature you set them on, or they may get hotter. So every oven's different. So what you have to do is, we want 265 for 8 minutes. So here's what I did. I put it in the oven, and I started the oven up, and I watched it for the whole 8 minutes, and it never even reached 265, even though I had it set on 265. Now, there's two kinds of new wave ovens you can get. One of them has levels, and the other one has temperatures. I recommend the temperatures because you can set it for, instead of setting it on level 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that, you can actually set a number temperature. I like that better. I don't know. Some people use the other kind. They say they're fine. I don't know. But 265 is the target you want. But now you have to play around with it a little to figure out what your oven will do. Some people extend the time, because if it's not, if the first 3 minutes it's only up to 150, that don't count, because it's not going to cure anything. It needs to bake at 265 for 8 minutes, not the first 3 minutes on 150 and the next two on 200, and then like that. That's not going to do any good. You have to get it up to 265, and it has to hold it for 8 minutes. So we're going to do the best we can to get it to that. Now, they have marked on here between about 260 and 270 is okay. The white area right here is what you want. Not the red area would be too hot, and the blue area would be too cold. So we want this white area in the middle here. So anywhere in between there would be okay. So what we do is, we play around with the temperature a little, and we play around with the time a little until you get a number that works. For me, I have to set my oven to 275, and I have to bake it for 12 minutes. Once you get it set and you figure out, okay, that does it, that's correct, you don't have to use this anymore. Some people put it in every single time, and you can do that, but I don't. I don't see any reason to. So what I do is, I just set it right. Once I get it all figured out, I just don't use it. In fact, I had a different thermometer that I have never used. This one, it's never been taken out of the package. They sent it to me for free, and I still have it. But I had another one, and after I set my oven, I gave it to my friend. because she was just switching from air dry to heat set. She was unsatisfied with the way air dry did her doll. So she said, I want to learn heat set. Will you help me? So I helped her. And she needed a thermometer, and I wasn't using mine, so I sent it to her. But now I have another new wave oven, a new one that I haven't started using yet. Well, it's new to me. Let's put it that way. It's new to me. Because eventually the one I have is going to go out, and it is making funny noises, so I'm afraid it might go out any time. So I got another one. So I'm going to have to regulate it with this one. But once I figure it out, once again, you can get these at Walmart. They're over in the kitchen area where you find all those little gadgets and things. And they're about $5 or $6. I don't know. I can't remember. They may be higher now because I bought mine a long time ago. But this one, like I said, I got free. So I'm keeping it. But let's see what else I got. Oh, yeah, we talked about the stockings already, didn't we? The little stockings that you use to... Yeah, here's my swabs. So you get 170. And I think it was $3, something like that. And I'm just trying to see if there's anything else in these junk drawers we need to cover. I just have more of the same things. Like, see, here's a pack of those paintbrushes I was talking about. You get this many in a pack, and they're like $1.50. So they're certainly worth the money. You can use them for glue. You can use them for paints and stuff you don't want to wash out of your brushes. It's too messy, and I just throw them away. And anyway, I have lots of different little things. Oh, you can get these little baby earrings too. I got these from Temu, I think. But be warned, they are plastic. Even the studs are plastic. They're plastic. And you have to kind of glue them in, or a kid could pull them out and put them in their mouth or something. But they're cute on the doll. Just a lot of people don't want them. I don't put them in right now until somebody says they might want them. I just put in my listing. I can give them earrings if you want them. Some people want them, some people don't. But you can get these. They're very cheap. I think this has like 20 pairs in it for $1.50. But they are plastic. So keep that in mind. Anyway, I can't see anything else in there that we really, really need to talk about. Oh, I get extra zip ties too. Extra zip ties are a lifesaver sometimes. Because sometimes you get a body like this one that has strings. And strings are blicky. I take them out and I put zip ties in. Usually if you're getting a body from Bountiful Baby, almost all of them are going to have zip ties. They'll actually tell you, if you read about the body in the description and stuff, they'll tell you if it has zip ties or strings. But I don't get my zip ties from Bountiful Baby either, because they sell them by the ounce. They weigh them. And whatever amount they weigh, that's how many zip ties you get. It's about 14, I think. You get 14 for their price, whatever it is. I can't remember. But I get mine from a company called the Little Ever After Company. It's on eBay, and I also found it one time on Etsy. But on either one of them sites, I saw them. And their zip ties, you get 50 for like $10 and something. It's way cheap. Way cheap. And they're the same zip ties. They work the same. They're just as strong. They're every bit the same. And I'm always recommending that company to people because they have great zip ties. And sometimes I forget to put the magnet in. I have to cut the zip tie and start over. You just need extra zip ties. You just do. And sometimes if you're getting I don't want to call them secondhand dolls, but somebody has bought dolls and then they didn't want to make them, or they're going to quit making dolls altogether or something like that. And they'll want to sell them to you. They'll have bodies that have been in their possession for months and months, if not years and years. And sometimes they put them in totes and bins and things, and they just get mashed up, and the zip ties get really bent real bad. And they just don't work as well. So I just take them out too and put new ones in. It's just easier. And another thing that a lot of these things that I'm telling you, you don't have to get them right away. You don't have to have paintbrushes for every color right away. If you want to economize, you can actually get the little tiny jars of paint to start out, because you might want to see if painting's for you. I don't know. But once we finish this series, I'm probably just going to pull a doll out from under here that I've already sealed and do it, because Aspen and Leaf have not been baked yet, and I don't want to take that much time. But anyway, you can wait on some of them. Like I said, you don't have to have pointy swabs. You can use some swabs you have in your bathroom or something, the round ones. And you don't have to go buy toothpicks. You can get some out of your cabinet. You probably have some in your kitchen. And, things like that. Let's see. I can't think of anything else that we need to cover. I do a lot of things that other people don't do. Like when I get my doll, I take them out of their regular bag, because them bags are crap. They just split and break. And I buy these bags. This is the Great Value brand. It's a 2-gallon Ziploc, but it's the Great Value brand. And it's real big, much bigger than the bag that the doll comes in. And after I seal them and bake them and they're ready to be painted, before I'm ready to paint them, I put them in one of these bags, because this one's going to hold. And I've used them over and over until they are no good anymore. And it's, I don't know, I like it. Alcohol, you're going to need alcohol. If you're going to alcohol your dolls like I do. You might also need acetone. If you want to strip your doll, there are a lot of people have a lot of advice on stripping. But I've never used Goof Off or some of them other things they say they use. Somebody even said they use WD-40. I just wouldn't go that route. That stuff is too messy. Acetone is like a clear liquid. It's not going to put oily, greasy residue on your doll that you have to clean off later. It is touchy to use, though, because you can't just get a bowl of acetone and drop your parts down in it. It'll eat away at the vinyl. What you have to do is, I get a bowl or a bin or something. If it's heavy plastic or if it's glass, it's fine. And I put some acetone in there. Don't put too much. It's going to evaporate very, very fast. Before you get done with the doll, you're going to go, where'd my acetone go? Well, it all evaporated. But anyway, I just use one of these wash rags, and I dip it in the acetone, and I start wiping the doll. Now, it's not easy to strip. I hate doing it, and I try every way not to have to do it. Some people just go, oh, I don't like the way she looks, I'm going to strip it. No, I ain't doing that. It better be really, really bad before I have to strip it. But rather than lose a doll, like I can't finish this doll, it's too bad, I would strip it. But I just save them until I have a bunch of them to strip, and then I strip them. Some people just go, I just wasn't happy she was a little too red, so I just stripped her and started over. No, I ain't doing all that. It's just going to be a red doll. But I say get it right the first time. That's why I've developed what I call a repeatable process. And that's what we're going to be learning in the next few videos that go in this series. We're going to be learning what I call a repeatable process. It's something you can do every time and come out with a good doll at the end. Yes, they'll be slightly different. Yes, you still can make mistakes. But you can repeat the steps over and over, because we do them the same. If you want to do this step, you can do it. If you don't want to do it, you can skip it. But if you do it, you can do it the same as you did it the last time, because my process is repeatable. Unlike a lot of other people's processes where they mix everything from scratch at the beginning, you might not can get the same color or anything, Yes, everybody's color is going to be slightly off, but we're talking drastic if you're mixing from scratch. To me, I can't mix the same every time. Maybe you can, but I can't. But anyway, that's what we're going to be doing in the next few videos, is we're going to be learning a process that you can repeat every time. It's easy, straightforward, uncomplicated, and just super simple to do. If I can do it, I guarantee you can do it. I don't have a creative bone in my entire body. And I just I struggled and struggled and struggled and struggled making dolls until I figured out my repeatable process. It took me a long time. So my goal is to teach as many people as I can a way, if you don't want to do the complicated thing, that you can do an easy thing. You can do something that you can actually follow, something that you can put into practice right now, something you don't have to be afraid of. I was terrified to start painting a doll, all the weird things that were out there when I started. You wouldn't believe the videos I came across, and I just didn't know where to start. But I offer this as a starting point. If you want to keep doing it this way, you absolutely can. If you want to branch out and do something different, I advise you do it a little at a time. Like, don't try to do 15 different things in your doll at one time. Try to do one. Go, well, I want to do this instead of what she did. Well, do that. And if you like it, keep it up. If you don't, you can go back. And then after you get the hang of that, change something else. But I offer this as a way to get started, a way that you can certainly make pretty dolls. And that's my goal. Pretty. They have to look good. I do want them to look realistic, but I'll forego some of that hyper realism for a pretty doll. Because some of those dolls I've seen, frankly, I don't think they're pretty. They just have too much realism in them. Yes, babies get modeled skin. But are you going to get a camera and take a picture of a baby when it's modeled? Because, oh, it's modeled right now. Let me get a picture of that. They're not always modeled, only when they're cold or, stuff like that. But that wouldn't be something you'd want to immortalize in pictures of your doll. And I don't want to immortalize it in my doll either. I think it's ugly. But other people like it, so you got to decide. And there's other things, too, that you can do to your doll, like milk spots, for example. To me, they just look like white freckles. I just think they're ugly, and I don't do them. I don't do that either. I don't model, and I can tell you how to model, but I'm not going to do it to my doll because I've done it to plenty dolls in the past, and they look freaky. Look like freaks of nature, like they have ringworm or something. I don't like it. But if you like it, by all means do it. All you need to do is make yourself a modeling sponge. It's going to look similar to, well, I have some. It's going to look similar to this. Now, this is something these really dense ones are good for. They're going to all fall out of the spin up here. It's going to look like that. Just get you some tweezers and pick out some holes like that, and you got yourself a modeling sponge. I've got a purple one. I've got a red one. I've got a blue one. I don't like modeling, so I don't use them. I rarely ever model, and when I do, I only use one color, and it's very light. But anyway, this video's gone long enough, so we're going to end it. And when we come back, we're going to be working on a kit. It may be today or it may be tomorrow. I just don't know. But you won't know the difference. You'll think it's been 30 seconds or less. But anyway, I want to ask everybody watching to please like my video. It helps me to know that people are watching and that they are interested and that they want me to keep making them. And subscribe to my channel so you don't lose this series. We're going to make an amazing baby together, and it's going to be very pretty. It might not be your dream baby, but it's going to be something you can do and start out your own baby making process. And as you branch out into this journey, you're going to find that it's a very nice hobby. This is my time that I like to relax and have fun with it. I don't want to worry over every step that I'm doing it wrong or that it's not going to come out good, or I don't like that. So I just do the easy way. But anyway, and also if you know somebody else who wants to make dolls or whatever, share the video, share it with somebody else so they can learn too. And we'll have a great journey on this in this series of making a doll together. Get you a kit, get you a body, and get you some paints, and get the bare necessities if that's what you want to do, so that we can make a doll together. If you want to watch the whole series first and then go back and make your doll, that's fine too. But you can use this video as a guide on what you think you need and what you don't need. You don't have to model, you don't have to crease, you don't have to vein, you don't have to do any of those things. In fact, any step that I do that you don't want to do, you don't have to do it. Everything is optional. It's your art, and I'm just showing you a way. And you're going to see as I'm doing it how the baby looks and how it looks compared to a, we'll take some times that we compare it to a blank kit so you can see the progress. Because sometimes, frankly, it's just hard to see the progress on camera. And so by putting it up next to a blank kit, you can go, oh yeah, there is a lot of progress there. I can see it now. Because otherwise you're not going to see much. It's going to go, well, just still looks unpainted to me, you know. But we're going to go through the techniques, how we do them, why we do them, all the whole thing. And we're going to start by mixing 1 jar of paint. I have so much paint mixed up over there from where I've already mixed paint in the past that I just feel like it's kind of counterproductive to mix anymore, but I want to show you how to do it. So we are going to mix 1 color of paint. They all mix pretty much the same. We're probably going to mix blush. I use the most in blush, and it's the hardest to mix. And I'm going to explain what you don't have to do when you're mixing regular colors as opposed to when you're mixing blush. So we're going to get started on that just really quick here in just a little while. Like I said, to you it'll seem like 10 seconds, but it might be later, a few hours from now. But anyway, please remember to like, subscribe, and share, and happy reborning.